Good morning, everybody. So I'm going to talk today a little bit about the instinctive stop. Now, I have mentioned this in the past, and a couple of people have asked me to go into more details about exactly what the instinctive stop is, because I've never heard of it before. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to first of all start off with a bit of the history of it. The term itself was coined by a French guy who's still alive today. I believe he's 90 years old this year, and his name is Guy-Claude Burger. And Guy-Claude, when he was a young man, he was sitting outside eating red cabbage leaves. And he was thinking to himself how sweet they tasted. He was enjoying eating the leaf of this cabbage. But after a while, the flavour changed from being sweet and enjoyable to bitter and unappetizing. And this got him to really thinking, because this was something that he had not noticed before. And after further reflection, he realized that every single food in its raw, natural state, as it's presented by nature, has what he coined this term himself, the instinctive stop. Now, the instinctive stop is basically when a food that you're eating, you're mono-eating a certain food, and the flavor changes. So it can suddenly become bland or bitter or start burning your tongue. This is quite obvious when you're eating something like a kiwi. You can eat kiwis and after a while your lips might start to burn. Or if you're eating pineapple, for example, if you eat too much pineapple, your tongue can start burning. Now this is a very, very clear sign of the instinctive stop. It's the body saying, stop, I'm not enjoying this anymore, I don't need this anymore, stop eating it. And of course, it's not always as extreme as burning. As I say, the flavour can just become bland. Whereas before you were enjoying it, suddenly it becomes something that you're not really keen on at that moment. That's what the instinctive stop is. Now, of course, Guy-Claude, he has a lot more behind his philosophy than that. And he came up with this idea that we were all originally, as human beings, scavengers more so than hunters. And that when we found a dead carcass, we would take advantage of that and eat it. This was his mind, the way he was thinking. So he adopted that too, that you should eat raw meat, raw animal flesh. And that's something that he and his followers do. He started a community in France of people called Instinctivores. And the Instinctivores all followed his philosophy of eating mono and including also animal flesh, dead fish, and other things which I don't personally consider to be appropriate fodder for human beings. But that was what he came up with. So I don't embrace the whole instinctivore philosophy, but I do see there's truth in the instinctive stop. That's why I talk about it, because I like to embrace truth where I see it and reject the parts that I don't see. And I think everybody should do that. You should use your own heart, check with yourself to see if you feel like something is truth or not, and embrace what you feel is and reject what you feel isn't. Now, I'm not trying to say that I eat mono all the time, because that would not be truthful of me. I do eat a certain amount of food mono, but I do mix things together as well. And I think that when you mix things together, you actually kind of lose the instinctive stop. So I don't think it's ideal, but that's what I do. I'm not perfect. None of us are. It doesn't mean to say that I maybe shouldn't think about trying to do that, but it's not what I'm doing at the moment. I'm just being honest. So what I want to say more about is the instinctive stop is only for raw, ripe, fresh foods, fruits that are presented by nature. And once you start adulterating your food by cooking it or overly processing it, then the instinctive stop disappears. This is why, for example, you can eat a cooked meal and there is no part of the body that says that's enough. Your mind has to kick in and tell yourself that no, if I carry on eating, I'm stuffed, I just can't manage anymore. So the instinctive stop is gone. And this is particularly visible if you look at something like eating chocolate. You might take a piece of chocolate, you eat it, and you feel like that's so nice. I don't want to stop because it tastes nice. And the only way that you can stop is if your chocolate bar runs out, or your mind kicks in and says, no, I really should push this chocolate aside and have more tomorrow, and I know that I'll make myself ill if I eat more. And that doesn't happen when you're eating fruit. If you're eating mono, that kind of thing doesn't happen. And I can recall one particular time in the 1990s that I was living in this farmhouse with a few other people, and there was a little boy there. I think he was maybe 5 years old at the time, and he came running into the farmhouse kitchen one day, and he was hungry. He'd been playing outside in the garden. He wanted something to eat. On the table was some raw runner beans, and he wanted to eat them. So he picked up some and he ate maybe 2 or 3, and then he said, "That's it, I'm full now. I want to go back outside again and play." So he ran back outside again to play. But the following day, there was a repeat occurrence. He'd been outside in the garden playing. He came into the house because he was hungry. He wanted to have a little snack. He wanted to eat something. This time, though, it was a little bit later in the day, and the beans had already been cooked. So the beans were on a plate there cooked, and this little boy, he started eating these beans, and he didn't stop. I was sitting there watching him. He ate maybe 10, 11, 12. He just kept eating these beans. And I was thinking, what a difference to the day before when he ate them and he felt like, this is it, I don't need any more, because he had 2 or 3. And the next day, he was there eating a dozen or more, only a little lad. So that kind of drove home to me this instinctive stop thing that's there, and that he had experienced the instinctive stop. He had naturally stopped eating, but when they were cooked, he didn't have that instinctive stop. He just carried on. The body said, no, give me more, because it's been malnourished by the food being cooked. The enzymes are gone. The body needs more. I don't know what it is, but that's the way it works. And a lot of raw fooders don't realize about the instinctive stop, and the fact that, for example, nuts, all nuts that you buy commercially have been heat treated, and therefore the instinctive stop is gone. And it's the same for dried fruit too. You can sit down and eat it and you can tell yourself to stop eating it, but if you're watching a movie or something and you've got a bag of nuts, you can just keep eating them. And this isn't the case for nuts. When you find them out on a tree, they're often milky, they're on the tree and they haven't been dried at all. It's different. I've before experienced it myself, where I've gone out and I've eaten walnuts off of a tree, and the walnuts have been milky and soft, and after I've eaten maybe 3 or 4 or 5, I felt like I don't want any more. But then there have been other times where I've gone out and I've bought nuts from a store, and I've come home and I've eaten those. Before I realised it, I've eaten half a kilogram of nuts. And the only thing that's made me stop is the fact that maybe I'm full, or I realised that I shouldn't be eating that many. So that's the instinctive stop for you. I hope that it explains what it's all about, and I think it's good to know about it. It's good to realise that, so that you can know better when your body is telling you to stop eating certain foods, because the body always does. The body knows best. The body knows what's right, and it always has the instinctive stop, providing the food is raw and ripe, like these beautiful oranges here, or these grapefruits here. If I was to sit and eat them, there would be a certain point where I would say, no, I don't want any more. But yeah, not the case if you're eating pizza. You can just keep eating pizza slice after pizza slice until you're fully stuffed. Anyway, I think I've got the point across. So toodaloo until next time. Take care.